Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Now, picture this. An elderly lady walks into a confessional, and she says, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Last night I grabbed a politician by the tie and sworn at him for his inability to get things done." And the priest responds, "My daughter, I'm here to listen to your sins, not your community service work." I love it. I love it. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Call in with our Pledge of Allegiance on this Wednesday morning. Good morning. Good morning. And a good morning to you. I love that. I love that opening. Can't get it out of my mind. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations having a big fall tire sale. You better get in there today. Save money, drive safely. There you go. And don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Along with Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life. Bit my tongue. Living the good life with friends. There you go. I'm in pain right now. Good morning. Let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, hey, here we go. We've still got that doggone hum on that line this morning. We'll do some detective work if you would. Appreciate it, old friend. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. I'm telling you, they're easy to find right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. And they've got all your heaters for the colder, cooler weather that we're going to have thrown at us here in the next couple of days. And they've got the heaters, electric, propane. They've got all your construction equipment, backhoes to get those water lines in. Better hurry before that ground freezes. Hurry up and get things done for fall. They've got the best tools and equipment to get the job finished at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, and the number to call, 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Well, it is going to be blustery today. Good morning with your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. For today, snow showers are likely and patchy blowing snow. Highs are going to be around 42 for tonight. Scattered snow showers, then partly cloudy, a low of 16. Now for tomorrow, it will be sunny, clearing off a little bit. Highs of 40. The wind will blow just a little bit. Then for Thursday night, clear, a low of 17. Friday, sunny and a high of 50. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Have a great day.
I noticed that must have been Gina with a bad cold. No, it was our friend Scotty filling in for the weather this morning. Thank you very much, Scott, man. And don't forget K&R Rental, our sponsor of the weather at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Roger and the crew get there early in the morning at the Burley-Paul Highway location, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Really, really good people. When I talk about really, really good people, I want to talk to you you out in the audience, and I want to remind you that Ramsey Heating and Electric has been in business serving you and all of this area for almost 7 decades. Think about that. Think about that. 70 years of service to you with the best of heating, cooling, and electrical needs. And all you need to do is stop in at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, or give them a call at 678-0459. They get there early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Believe me, it's true. Warm winters, cool summers with our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Wow, we've got a ton of things to go over today. Dave Vigo from Indianapolis, Indiana is going to be on the air at 9:06. Then at 9:30, I welcome back to our microphones a gentleman that I have a lot of respect for, and that's RCAF USA CEO Bill Bullard, and he's going to be on the program. Then we're going to talk to Russ and Jackie Jones, a husband and wife that are planning a huge, huge trip to Israel coming up in the spring of 2020. And then at 10:30, for those of you that are concerned about what's all this on TV, the radio, and in newspapers about reverse mortgages with your home, we're going to have a guy by the name of Kevin Gutman come on the program. And he's a mortgage banker, and he's going to give us the top 8 myths about reverse mortgages. So if people have questions, now would be the time this morning to call in and talk to him. He really knows what's going on. Want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Denny's Restaurant. Ooh, my America's Diner, as I almost tipped over the microphone this morning. And, of course, they're located at 611 North Overland in Burley. And I absolutely urge you to stop in and enjoy all the delicious food. Absolutely. Breakfast? Mm-hmm. Lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the great desserts, excellent, excellent friendly people serving you at America's Diner. And, they've had so many changes and additions onto their menu, you just get perplexed as to what to order that's all good at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and then another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Thank you very much. All right, it's your turn. Give us a call on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't give a whit if President Trump asked President Zelensky from the Ukraine to pay for a carnival ride. I don't care. It doesn't bother me in the least. Other presidents, including Obama and including presidential hopeful John Kerry and, of course, President Clinton, have done the same, and it's never been publicized or really got the big fat ink press in all the newspapers. I don't care. This administration has tried for 3 years to put this country back on the rails, and the Democrats and the left hate him for his efforts. Somebody said the other day that we have to heal ourselves, and we have to stop this partisan bickering. Wait a minute. I want to stop the partisan bickering, but I want things done. I don't want to have these absolutely encroaching on reality or absolutely going into a mousehole Democrats keep digging a bigger hole saying, well, he did this. Well, he did that. Well, he didn't do this. They haven't had one bit of time and effort given to you and I and America. The Democrats purely hate Trump more than they care for us in America. Plain and simple, that's the bottom line. And I absolutely encourage any Democrat to call right now and tell me I'm wrong. That's good timing. And we'll take that call. Stand by. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. No, the Democrats don't have any agenda other than to get rid of Trump. And, he's full support of the Republican Party behind him, but he's got the Romneys and the Flakes and others out there that are pulling the other direction well. And it makes it really difficult. and the guy's working hard. I mean, this guy works. He was in the office when he was inaugurated. He was already in the Oval Office working when most presidents would be celebrating. But we've got to get behind him and support him. The only thing I don't support him on is this new trade agreement. I think he's been taken to the woodshed on this thing. There needs to be brought up to speed as to what this really entails.
Okay, now hold on just a minute, Adrian. I've got to ask you a favor because you're not coming through very well this morning. I don't know if it's your cell phone or the way you're holding it or what, or if you're moving someplace. If you are moving, walking, or doing anything, stop and hold it very still. But let me interrupt you and say that I am right now in the process of putting together a show next week, a segment I should say, on these trade agreements and new trade allowances for us to compete with Canada, Mexico, and the world, etc. And I'm really going to get into this next week. And so my main purpose this morning, and I don't want to get into these trade agreements this morning, my main purpose this morning is to show and create the aura of what's going to happen if the Democrats beat Trump. Or is he at the last minute going to say, throw his hands up in the air and say, I've had enough of this garbage, I'm leaving. I wouldn't blame the man.
Well, I don't think any of us will be able to handle the pressure that he has had to have. I mean, and not only himself, but his family. I mean, this is unprecedented. And you mentioned about phone calls. You know, can you imagine if we had transcripts of Obama talking to the Iranian imam? You know, of course, he's a Muslim. And so I think they would be plotting how best to use this all this money that we sent them, a whole plane load of money, and give them the ability to produce nuclear weapons. That was on the table. And so, I mean, we're so thankful to have Trump in there, and they're worried about a conversation with Ukrainian president, which has been released, and I think that caught the ship and company totally by surprise. They thought, oh, he'll never release those transcripts of his conversation.
We
bring up these whistleblowers, and Zeb, they can't really say much because the hard copy transcripts out there, Zeb.
Yeah. I appreciate what you're saying. Adrian, we do have a little phone problem with you this morning, and I want to make sure that maybe we talk after the program and figure out what the problem is. What you're saying is exactly what I'm going to be going into this morning, and I thank you, as I always do, for your insight and your involvement in trying to keep people aware of what's going on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
We just got to be involved. We got to get hold of our elected people and let them have. They need to keep their oath of office, read the Constitution, and keep. That's what we need to have.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you, sir. God bless. Thank you. What he said is right. Now, I'm looking at this thing. I'm trying to be as non-prejudicial as I can be. But when you hear that over 90 congressmen, right now this morning, and I'm not making anything up on this program. I have nothing to gain by lying to you or giving you perpetrated stories. 90 congressmen and women are right now banding together, and they are increasing their numbers, as a matter of fact, to censure and hopefully diminish the value on any committee of California's Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is a liar. Adam Schiff has lied many times. Adam Schiff has gone before the American public TV cameras and lied right to all of us. Adam Schiff made a stupid, and this will go down in history. I was listening to a commentary on the radio the other day, driving to Twin Falls. And this so-called parody that Adam Schiff gave the other day in front of that congressional hearing was so absolutely repulsive, and so absolutely twisted, and so absolutely regarded as maybe fact by people that were unaware that it was a parody and he was making it up, that this is one of the big reasons why they want to throw this bum out. He is a bum. He is not respected. And I will not respect him on this program for what he's done. Adam Schiff needs to go. Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Dr. Bill and the staff. You know, I think the word they should put right there, Ark Animal Hospital cares. They care. They really care about the health and the best things for your livestock, your kitty cats, your dogs, everything. They want to make sure they're healthy. And by caring for your animals, they urge you to make sure that they're all up on their vaccinations and everything else, and I urge you to give them a call, 678-1177, Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union, where it's true. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, stand by. I'll be right there. I also want to remind everybody about Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with our friends at Lennox. They have teamed up with the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat, featuring remote control access as part of your home's temperature that you can adjust from anywhere. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $16,000 in rebates on a new system. Ooh, so make yourself comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The enemies of America are jumping with joy knowing they got the Democratic Party and so many Republicans on their side. And you're right. If Donald Trump decides to quit, this country would slide off into an abyss so fast, and the people that were against Trump would realize what they've done to America.
You know, let me tell you something, and if you don't agree with me, my dear friend, I urge you to tell me. I mean, I've got big shoulders. I can take it. One of the biggest crybaby wannabes that absolutely is stirring up trouble on behalf of his being a senator in the Republican Party is Mitt Romney. I used to like Mitt Romney. I used to like his family, and I used to have a lot of respect for him as a person, a businessman, and getting things done, and I've changed my entire modus operandi against him. I think he's nothing more than a jealous wannabe that's going to create more problems for this administration to try to keep America on the rails. Wow. Am I upset about him? You better believe it.
Oh, yeah. He's in the same boat with Nancy Pelosi. She is upset because she's losing power in her position to these left-wing Democrats like Cortez and Almar and the rest of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you that this country would be in a shambles in about 2 months if Donald Trump walked off the job.
Yeah, and you know, that's really true. And I'd like to have somebody dispute that. I mean, he's helped make our economy bigger and better. He's lowered the unemployment rate down to absolute obscure levels. And absolutely, a lot of people are chiding him and differing with him on the pullout of Syria, etc. And they're saying, oh, how could you do that to our friends and allies? He said when he was running for office, he wanted to stop these endless, mindless wars and get our troops back home. He is following up on what he said, and I don't think you're ever going to win a war over in the Middle East anyway. I absolutely am sick and tired of these people that know nothing, are criticizing him.
Well, how many millions of our troops over the years have we sacrificed to save other countries? It's about time these other countries got off their butts and did something to save themselves.
We could go on and on in that regard for a long time, but I think it's high time, past time, that we start evaluating where the money hole was and where the money was being poured down an open pit. And the Middle East is one of them. I don't think, and I'll say this, I don't think you can ever win a war in the Middle East because of the terrain, because of the way they fight, and because of the incessant recruiting of more people to come in and just basically give up their lives as they don't care about human life. They don't care about the value of human life. And until somebody proves me wrong, I say it's great to get out of Syria.
Well, the Russians found out what the Middle East is all about. They took a beating over there.
You bet your life. Tony, Mary, God bless you both. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are going, oh, well, we can't pull out. I mean, my goodness, we've got to stay there. Stay there for what? Stay there for what? More slaughter of our soldiers? More inhumane wounding? For what? What's the net result? What are you going to do? Are you going to win it? Or are you going to go in? If you're going to fight, go to win. I never heard of anything so dumb in my life of wanting to get into a fight, but then only going through the terms of mediocrity. Well, we're here to be in a war, but we're not here to win it. What? That's like going to a football game and going through all the pain and the rigors of practice every day to get your body physically ready to go out and stomp your opponent, and then go out in the game and say, well, we made it to the game, but we're not here to win it. We're just here to play. Play? I'm here to win it. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget, on Mondays, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness. All the delicious bakery items in their bakery, cookies, pies, cakes, all the delicious breads and muffins, everything. And then, of course, they've got that wonderful restaurant right there, too. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Don't you forget, stop in and see them today. Also, real fast, I want to remind you about our friends at Dino's Septic Service. You know, how many times have you sat back and said, I don't want to go out and pump that septic tank? No! And you wrinkle your nose up and everything. Well, they are absolutely the best at what they do. Dino's Septic Service, they've expanded their business. It covers more of the entirety of Magic Valley. I mean, they're absolutely excellent with septic tank pumping, a septic tank and drain fields installed, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed. What are you waiting for? Give them a call today. 436-6526 or 678-1638. Fast fare friendly service with the big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
You're very welcome, my friend. Excuse me. You know, I'm all for pulling out of Syria, bringing our boys and girls home, or men and women, I should say, home. You know, I don't know why we have to be the rescuers for everybody. They were supposed to just be a backup, weren't they? Weren't they supposed to train these people and then they could take over themselves?
Yeah, shades of Vietnam, my dear. Shades of Vietnam.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing happened. You know, I had relatives over there, and my cousin did 3 tours over there, and he said, you know, if they would just let us go in, fight, get it over with, and bring us home, it'd be fine. But it was a political war, just like this.
You know, and right there, I commend you and compliment you for using those 2 words because they are absolutely appropriate for our conversation. Political warfare or a political incursion into shooting guns and blowing up buildings. I mean, absolutely, it's nothing more than politics. And I've always maintained, and anybody that knows me really well, and you do along with your husband, if you're going to get into a fight, you don't just stand there to be in a fight. You fight to win the damn thing.
Yeah, you got it. You know, we didn't throw the first punch. We should throw the final punch and then come home.
This really upsets me because we see so many of these so-called political confrontations. Well, we're going to come in and we're going to do this and we're going to furnish all these troops and we're going to furnish all these tanks and we're going to furnish all this equipment, many of which are going to be left there to rot and rust, and we're going to do this, but we don't go in to win the doggone thing.
Well, the only thing I can say about Trump as far as the warfare goes, he does kick butt and take names later.
Yeah.
He's doing the best he can. You know, he went in, took care of the problem, and got the heck out. That's what we should be doing, not be in there 18 to 20 years, losing hundreds and thousands of our men and women.
You got it, Donna. You've got it.
Yeah.
Every time I do,
the heck out of me.
every time I do one of the events that you and George put on for our veterans or our POW and MIA, I am not ashamed to say it. I did the last time over in Rupert a couple of weeks ago. I cried because I get to looking at our flag, and I think about all the servicemen and women that are laying in graves, or maybe they haven't even found their bodies, in countries that absolutely we went there supposedly to help, but we didn't win. We didn't try to win. And don't tell me that the strongest country in the world can't go in and kick some butt and win.
No, they can't fight. They can't fire back. They have to call in to get, permission to fire back at the people that are trying to kill them.
There you go.
What the heck kind of military is that? Obama ruined our military. Trump is reinforcing it.
I'm just really upset about this morning, and I apologize if I sound a little bit more terse than that normal. Thank you, Donna. God bless you.
My friend.
All right.
You're doing what what you do, and you do it the best.
Yeah, thank you.
I just wish we could go in, get it done, get it over, and get our boys and girls.
Amen. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I just want to say before I take this caller that you can use any kind of sports equation as to what's going on politically with our war system. Go back to the days of Cassius Clay and heavyweight boxing, and I can remember all the various fights. If they went into the boxing ring with the attitude of, well, here I am, I'm just going to box, they're going to get the living, kicked out of them and stomped out of the ring. You go in there with the attitude of putting your opponent down and winning. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning. Today is birthday and anniversary dinner at the Burley Senior Center, which means we're having turkey, dressing, mashed taters, gravy, green beans, and cranberry sauce, and a vegetable, and yummy dessert.
I got to ask you, Joe, because you're such a dear friend of mine. I don't want you to embellish this. I want you to tell me the straight, honest truth. Do you really like cranberry sauce?
Yes.
Honest. I'd be darned. I don't, and I haven't met that many people that do. They always kind of treat it as a garnishment to the meal, and they go, oh, gee, isn't that pretty? But you like it.
I like it.
Okay. And, of course, a yummy dessert, right?
Yes. Only $5. You can get one to go. You need everybody.
All right, Joe Taylor. Senior Center on Overland and Burley. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Hey, don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley and 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. Don't forget they've got everything for the jobs of lifting and digging and pushing and carrying and leveling and grading. Oh, my, they've got the big equipment. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, all the Bobcats. Oh, and by the way, they've got hammer drills and bits up to 2 inches at the Burley store. For those of you that need that equipment, it's there. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin and Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's another aspect to this that I want to tell you about and talk to you about. The Democrats, including Biden, Pelosi, Hillary, Adam Schiff, the list goes on, all have been calling us, the supporters of this administration, the dregs of society, and toothless and mindless followers of President Trump. If you want to look these quotes up, have at it, because many of these so-called Democratic leaders have used these phrases, called us deplorables, etc. Well, they just keep hating and digging, and we, the deplorables, and I'm pretty dadgum proud to be called a deplorable, should all be praying, and I mean this, that Donald Trump does not weaken. I said before any of the big boys on the networks, I said it a week and a half ago. For those of you that are faithful listeners, you heard me say this. I can prove it. That if I were Donald Trump, I would put the brakes on and slam the door and say no. My people and myself are not going to contribute any more to this foolishness and this harassment of this administration. We want to get things done. We're going to get things done. I have right here on this desk, and I've said this many times, the entire phone transcript that was said between President Zelensky and President Trump. And you do not have to be a college graduate to sit there, read it again, and read it the fifth time to understand that if that's impeachable, holy smoke, are we in trouble in this mindless democratic society. I tell you, folks, plain and simple. Plain and simple. If any of the left Democrats win any position in 2020, America loses. America loses. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Once again, a reminder about Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, and it's really the truth. They're all teamed up to help you with your home comfort systems. That's right, don't forget the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox, featuring remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering up to $1,600 in rebates. I almost said it again. Rebates on a new system. I had trouble yesterday. So make yourself comfortable. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today. Now, 678-0459. One other thing I want to say about politics and all the stupidity that's going on in our society today is that finally a doctor, and by the word, I want to say that word again, doctor that understands anatomy, came under a lot of fire the last couple of days. He's running for, hold on, caller, I want to finish my point. He's running for the Louisiana Republican gubernatorial candidacy, Ralph Abraham. And he had the backbone to come out and say there are only two genders, male and female. And it's about high time we have received some common sense to go back into our culture and embrace it with honesty. It's idiocy to think that there are more than two genders. And anyone, and I don't care who's offended, anyone that thinks different, like 47 or 48 different genders, and we've got to take away the gender pronouns, and we absolutely have to be, today we have to respect you because you're a giraffe, tomorrow you're a Shetland pony, the next day who knows what you're going to be, is absolutely mindless idiocy. There are two genders. And on this program, I am never going to weaken. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir. Look in the first book of the Bible. It says God created man, God created woman. That's it. Period.
Oh, gee. Why, it's such a simple answer. I'm surprised the left can't understand that.
Well, I've seen many pictures and stuff showing in the genders, the male, female, and then all the other ones that they want to do, and it says there are two genders, male, female. All others are a mental disorder.
Wait a minute. You stop right there, because I'm going to bare my chest on something a little bit that I think the public should know about. I have been criticized because of my stand against the LGBT and their for asking for special rights and everything else. Let me just tell you this. How in the world can I show respect for anything that is false? In other words, what I'm saying is, Doug, if they're going to come out and say, well, there's over 48 or 49 genders, and in the city of New York, you have to abide by this and that and the other thing, how in the world can you show respect for something that's not real? It's false.
Exactly. I mean, how can you? I have no answer for that. You can't.
Well, see, that they don't have an answer either. And these gutless wonders that live out in radio land that wait till the program's over and then they call or send emails and they say, how dare you not have any respect for other people's opinions and the way they live? Wait a minute. I don't have to respect anything that is not bona fide fact, and you don't either.
Well, you don't. You take... oh, shoot, my mind just went, whew. Did you ever have one of those moments?
Every day from 4 in the morning until midnight.
A little gust of wind come through, and there it went. Anyway, I'm trying to think where I was going. Go ahead and talk a little more often.
No, all I want to say on this subject is I will not be harassed or I will not be strong-armed into acknowledging anything else except the truth. I mean, my goodness sakes, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, it doesn't take a man running for the Louisiana gubernatorial nod, a doctor, or anybody else to say there's only two genders in this world. God created man and woman. That's it. Bottom line, and all this other stuff is just nothing but hyperbole and a bunch of doggone garbage.
Exactly. Yeah, what I was going to say was, you know, they have a right to say and feel what they feel, but their right ends when they try to force me to comply with them.
Or accepting it as bona fide fact, and that doesn't cut the birthday cake.
It doesn't. They do not have a right to tell me how I have to think and how I have to feel. I mean, okay, let's put this on the other. Let's have a white male society. You know, like the Black Caucus. Let's have a white male caucus. And let's see how far that flies.
I don't think you're going to get the wings on that airplane.
I mean, but they can have a black caucus. But in the Black Caucus, is there any Republicans? Is there any black Republicans in there?
Yeah, I've said that for a long time on this program, and it goes back to the Chamber of Commerce thing. They're always hailing and railing about the black Chamber of Commerce in our country. Wait a minute. If the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce or any commerce announced that they were an all-white Chamber of Commerce, I'm telling you that there may be all heck to pay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, the door swings one way with those guys.
Yeah.
It's their way or no way. But baloney, their rights end where my nose begins.
Well, the thing is, Doug, on this program, or any program that has any merit whatsoever, why do people want to perpetrate things that are not true? And when you start talking about LGBT rights and transgenders and all this, and there's 48 genders, and we demand respect for all those 48 genders, and we demand that you call us by the proper pronoun. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to call anybody by anything except fact.
Yep, it's ma'am and sir for me.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate your call, old buddy. Thank you very much.
Hey, everybody, let's take care of our senior centers. Go visit old Joe over there in that yummy dessert. See what it is today and let us know.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Time for the weather. I've got to calm down just a little. No, I'm not going to calm down. I'm going to stay my happy, very high-wired self this morning because there's just certain things that we've got to get back to. The basics of honesty. The basics of honesty. Right and wrong. Black and white. Oh. And male and female. Thank you. Time for the weather, and the weather's brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And I want to give you a new number. And I want you to call. I'm asking you as a favor. Please call this new number and say, I heard Zeb tell me to call this number, and I am. The number is 208-417-8799. I said that fast. Now we're going to go slower. Pencil ready? 208-417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And absolutely helping you with your hearing problems. They want to make sure that they're correctable. They can, and they will help you with a hearing screening. Call them today at 417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's Scott Man with the weather.
Well, it is going to be blustery today. Good morning with your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. For today, snow showers are likely and patchy blowing snow. Highs are going to be around 42 for tonight. Scattered snow showers, then partly cloudy, a low of 16. Now for tomorrow, it will be sunny, clearing off a little bit. Highs of 40. The wind will blow just a little bit. Then for Thursday night, clear, a low of 17. Friday, sunny and a high of 50. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Have a great day.
Oh, thank you, Scott, man. Appreciate it. And brought to you by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And that number again, 417-8799. You take it from old Zeb. You call them today and make sure that you have the best of hearing health. You know, this doctor that's running for the governorship of Louisiana said something else. He said, we, America, we can't speak the truth anymore. And what he meant by that was absolutely chilling, because we've got away from the truth. We've got away from saying this happened or that didn't happen, or this is the way this is, bona fide fact. And then the left will say, well, yeah, but there's so many variables there. We're going to twist and turn this a little bit, and we're going to turn you into a bigot and a hate monger. There is nothing about telling the truth that can be considered bigotry or being a hate monger. And I'm really going to start drawing the line on a lot of these stupid assessments by the left. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Zeb, the truth is fossil fuels are going to come in handy today and tonight. And so, when we act like we don't care about, that we want clean energy, it's going to be so cold tonight, it's unbelievable. I hope that the farmers aren't going to be hurt here. I know they're digging spuds as fast as they can, and I know that they're in the ground still, but it's hard on them.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute, Randy, come on. Let's be realistic, and let's go the Idaho Power route. Let's put a big propeller on the front and the back cab of every John Deere, and let's just watch the wind push them down the potato rolls. I'm sure it will work.
That's a joke. Last night I was in Twin, and I drove down Highway 30 past your house, and people are out getting the harvest done, and this is the thing, whether or not you're a farmer, a rancher, a dairyman, these people, Schiff, Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, any of them, Schumer, Pelosi, I'd like to go get them and say, listen, we're going to have a little tour today. We're going out to the farm. We're going to see how this farmers and ranchers and dairymen are as thoughtful and environmentally conscious as anybody you've ever met. And we were already way ahead of you. But there has to be practicality in this situation if you want to eat.
Yeah, and you know something? I've got another call waiting, but I want to address what you just said. Oh, hang on just a second. I want to address what you just said. Anytime you try to take these people en masse to teach them something or show them the real world, they always, when it's all said and done, they'll come back and twist it, and they'll go against the farming, and they'll say, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did, she said, well, we've got to teach these farmers how to do things a different way. This is a bartender that has a very low education from New York, and she's going to tell the biggest industry, agriculture, what to do?
Well, that's just it. See, if she went out and saw her brothers and sisters, working in, at the potato sellers and the pilers. They're on the potato harvesters picking clods. It's just, they're so full of you-know-what.
I think when you say picking clods, it's also a very appropriate summation that it could be picking Democrats, too. I've got to run. Thanks, Randy. God bless you, man. Thanks. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Quickly, go ahead, please.
Yes, Sam. I was listening to your conversation about there only being 2 sexes, and I agree with you on that. But what do we do in the case of hermaphrodites?
You can go in the weeds anytime you want to, but I'm going to stick with my thing as far as 2 sexes. There are freaks of nature that happen, and God help those poor people, etc. But don't go waving in the breeze. You know as well as I do, there are just a male and a female gender, and we're talking minuscule numbers of what you're trying to go at here. I don't appreciate the fact that we're getting away from common sense in this country, male and female, right and wrong, black and white, and by gosh, it's about time we started hearing back to the principles that made it for your mom and dad, your grandparents, and all the people before us.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's only 2 sexes, but I know that's a freak of nature and doesn't happen very often. And this crazy idea of having 40 and 50 different sexes is just crazy because in some languages that's impossible to handle. And Spanish being one of them. They refer to he and she. They don't refer to it.
That's right. Let me throw something else at you. And you're a very articulate gentleman, and I want you to respond to this. If you own a business, and I don't know if you do or don't, but if you own a business and you have certain ways that you want your business promoted to the public, and you tell your salespeople that's the way you want them to address the public, and this is the image of your company, and then all of a sudden you've got an employee that says, you know what, I'm a guy, but I want to dress as a woman, and I want to start meeting the public in dress and high heels and everything. Do you as an employer have the right to fire that person if they won't change and do things according to your guidelines or not?
As long as I'm not receiving any federal monies, I agree.
Absolutely. There's a case in front of the Supreme Court this morning about a funeral home. It's one of the cases the Supreme Court is studying about a funeral home and the owner that all of a sudden one of his salespeople decided to dress and greet people during the funerals as a transgendered woman. And he let this person go, and he's on the rails right now with lawsuits against him. And I'm saying that if an employer has not got the right to promote his company the way he wants to, we've lost it in this country.
I agree 100%. Thanks for giving me the time to talk about it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't want one single person, not one of you, to send me an email or call me and say, well, you're hate-filled. No, I'm not. No, I am not. I guess I am reality-filled, because that's reality. Don't forget Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with a great big fall tire sale. Absolutely, you can save up to $152 on a set of 4 select light truck and SUV tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes, and helping all the vehicles, whether it's a car, pickup, SUV, camp trailer, boat trailer, horse trailer, whatever, they've got all your tires. And a great big fall tire sale at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with the best in brake service, the best in front end alignments and shocks and struts, and the best in batteries. I've kept saying it, that there's no feeling worse than being up on a mountaintop someplace on a hunting trip in the fall to turn your pickup on and goes click, 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 click. Make sure that you've got the best of batteries right there at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely the best. Coming up next hour, I want to remind you that Dave Bego from Indianapolis, Indiana is going to be on the program, and then we're going to have at 9:30 a visit with RCAF's USA CEO Bill Bullard up in Montana. The Idaho Rodeo Hall of Fame is going to have their next induction ceremony at the Canyon Crest Dining and Event Center on Saturday, October 26th, and I urge everybody to be there. They're going to have some wonderful 2019 inductions. It's going to be quite a reunion party with a lot of great cowboys and cowgirls. Don't forget where the legends live, coming up on October 26th. Going to take a break for the news from CBS. I'm not going to weaken. I'm going to hang in there and be back in about 7 minutes. All right, here we go with the wind blowing outside and the temperature only 34 degrees. Who said fat people don't get cold? I'm cold. Anyway, welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a big fall tire sale going on right now. And, of course, don't forget other great advertisers include Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living, what a beautiful place, at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, old Wheels, old buddy, old pal, can we have this good word for Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, it is, and it's true. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. I mean, you got a garbage problem, Bunky. You just moved into the area and you don't know what to do with the garbage, and oh my goodness, you're just standing there tearing your hair out. Calm down. Call 734-6969, 734-6969. Get on the route service and they'll come by weekly and pick up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. No more tearing out your hair. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Want to remind you quickly, too, Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with Lennox, teamed up and are offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a new home comfort system featuring the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat. You better check it out today. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. You check it out today. And really quick, I also want to remind you about some people that absolutely have been so helpful in our Southern Idaho community, and that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, with a great gentleman, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff serving you. Absolutely always providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Please remember the number, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Okay, it's Wednesday, and he's probably going to tell us it's 70 degrees, sunshine, and the leaves are twinkling down to the ground in the sunlight. Good morning, Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Bego.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you? Yes, well, our temperature this morning was 54 degrees, but we're supposed to go up to around 70, and it's clear skies and sunny and very little wind.
Oh, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. David, my dear friend, I want to start things off by saying a little bit of a carryover from the first hour on my program. And I'm going to be very blunt about certain aspects of this conversation. The United States and us the citizens of the United States, and for that matter, our families, our kids, our school system, we have got away from a 5-letter word. And you know what that word is? It's the truth. Nobody speaks the truth anymore when it comes to various subjects or problems, and I'm sick and tired of it, and on this program we're only going to refer to the truth. How would you respond to that?
Well, I think that's what we should, and that's the way. What good people do, and what good people should do. And unfortunately, we got too many people who've been brainwashed and pushed to the wrong side of the aisle.
You know, right there is a great way to start the conversation, because the left wants us to forget the truth, and the truth can be manipulated and changed to whatever they say is okay to promote. I.e., in Seattle, they're trying to change the math standards, and they say that math is oppressive and math is racist, and 2 and 2 definitely doesn't just mean 4 all the time. It's open for scrutiny. I'm absolutely sickened by what's going on with the truth.
Yeah, Zeb, and this is, as I go back to what I've said many times, the left has controlled our education system for a long time, and they continue to change things so that they can put things in that they control to control us, and they control the minds, especially the young people and the millennials, and that's what this is all about, because and it's going to get worse as we move towards the 2020 election.
You are and Wheels, there's feedback on the line. Ride that gain. You are one of the most calm, cool, collected kind of individuals that I've ever had on my program. But I honestly think that there's a fire burning underneath the skin of old Dave Bego, to where you're getting a little sick and tired of watching this administration be basically burned at the stake for every single thing that goes on in this country. What are your thoughts about the left and the Democrats and this absolute, from day one, trying to hurt or denigrate President Trump?
Well, it doesn't matter if it was Trump or somebody else that was in the president in office as a Republican. This is all about control, Zeb, and people need to wake up to that fact. They want to win back the White House. They want to win back or keep the House, and and they want to control this country. And this is their whole goal. And the unions, and a big example of this right now is United Auto Workers strike against GM. These guys out there that are running the UAW, they're thieves, and a lot of them are being sued and investigated for coercion and doing bad things and stealing money from the membership and all that kind of stuff. And the whole purpose of all that is to bring down the economy, make things look bad and everything, and get more dues money from their membership so they can move ahead and improve things and get the Democratic Party to win the 2020 election. And here's what people don't understand about this, though. They're still fighting all this because over the last 40 years, like the UAW and other unions are the same way, the UAW has lost 1.1 million members.
Wow. 1.1 million people saw the light, and it was not a train coming at them head on. They saw the light of truth, didn't they?
Yeah, plus, and we've got right to work passed in this country, and I was involved in getting that done here in Indiana and Michigan. And when people had the chance to stand up and fight back, they did. And we need to continue to move forward in this stuff.
Absolutely. But when you look at the absolute caustic left and some of the things that they say, here's what's going on, I think, for the election leading up to 2020, and we're only 13 months away. We're looking at a situation to where they're on record and quoted as saying that we're deplorables. Hillary Clinton called us deplorables. Adam Schiff and Pelosi and the rest of the people are saying that we are toothless and mindless if we follow Donald Trump. We're the dregs of society. They keep running down a major portion of the United States citizenry. I think the Democrats have got a big shovel and they're digging that hole deeper, and pretty soon the sides are going to cave in on them. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you, Zeb. I think there's a lot of people in this country that are waking up to what's going on, and they, despite what the polls, I don't believe the polls at all, because I think they're, especially the ones that are coming out from the media and everybody else, they are positioned to in favor of the Democrats, and they're going to continue to do that kind of stuff. And but I think a lot of Americans, and it's just like the union membership with the UAW, they're stepping back, and they don't like what's going on, the corruption of their leaders, and where they're going, how they treat their membership. And here's the thing: this UAW strike has been going on for 4 weeks. And the poor membership, on strike pay, they're only making $250 a week.
Wow!
And the unions aren't helping them in any way, shape, or form. And these people were making good money. They're probably making $1,100 or $1,200 a week, and now they're on strike pay $250 a week for a month. How do you think that goes with these people?
Oh, I think a lot of them probably are going home to their wives and saying, honey, this is it. We've got to pull the rug out from underneath this, or we're going to go bankrupt. I'm sure the situation after 4 weeks, I mean, really, when you look at the American family, 4 weeks of going with what, seventh or an eighth of their income, how do they afford to stay afloat?
Well, and that's the problem, and that's why a lot of these people, and not just union members, but a lot of people are looking at the Democratic Party and their supporters and the far left. And it's not all the Democratic Party, because there's still some that believe in being in the middle and what things should be like. But the left and the deep state, there's a lot of them that are just moving away from this, and they're looking for people that can continue to grow this country and the economy, because it continues to still grow despite all the damage the left is trying to do to it.
Absolutely. Case in point, my dear friend, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but in California, thanks to the Democrats with their regulations and their taxes at the pumps in California, and a dear friend of mine called me this morning early and said, holy smokes, we're paying $5.21 a gallon for gas. That is underneath Democratic leadership, idiot leadership in California.
It doesn't surprise me at all. And California and the West Coast is controlled by the unions, and a big part of the union that I fought. And they control the Democratic Party and the regulations and things that are put into place. And this is, if people really want to see what this country is going to turn into, this is what they need to put their eyes on.
I just don't understand. Dave, help me on this, because next week is another debate of the Dems, and who can stand at the podium next week? Who can stand at the podium and address these issues and come up with any answers that are better than what are being employed right now to put Americans back on a track to being successful? I mean, is it going to be Kamala Harris? Is it going to be Elizabeth Warren with her far left? We got to tax the rich and run them out of business, and we've got to have higher taxes, Medicare for all. Bernie Sanders, his health is not good. Then you're looking at Joe Biden. I think he's going to absolutely have to answer charges and possibly go to court over money, maybe indiscretions with China and also Ukraine. Who's standing in the wings? Gee, I bet it's Hillary Clinton.
Well, it could be, and that's something that we have to keep our eyes on. But then you get back to Hillary, and you start exposing what her and her husband have done over the years, and the fact that they have not been honest, and they've done things with other countries to get money for their own pocketbook and their programs, and they've destroyed emails. Hillary destroyed 33,000 emails or something like that. But you have to expose these type of things, and we'll see where this thing goes to. And they're even talking about President Obama's wife. And if you do that, it's going to return us to what the Obama era was like.
I just honestly am so concerned that the American public, I don't know why they're not pursuing their own education on these matters. I don't know why they're not asking more questions. I don't know if they're just tied into listening to the balderdash that comes from ABC, CBS, or NBC, or CNN. I don't know. But I'm more concerned today. I got to be honest with you, old buddy. I'm more concerned today than I was a week ago about what's going to happen to twist, turn, and lie for the Democrats trying to take over in 2020. I'm really scared.
Well, it's as I've said to you many times and on your shows, Zeb, that we're going to continue to see this stuff up until the election, and it's going to get worse and it's going to get uglier. And when you look at their candidates, and going back to Elizabeth Warren, she is a true socialist communist. She wants everything to be controlled by the government and her, and this is what they want to do. And the far left is going to push for this type of candidate, and it's going to get worse, Ev. It just really is going to get worse, and the American people need to wake up and step back and understand what these people are all about.
You have been, in your career, an excellent basketball player, and I know that many, many times we talk basketball on this program. I'm going to state this right now this morning that I am ashamed. I'm absolutely ashamed of the NBA. I'm ashamed of coaches like Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich. I forgot his last name all of a sudden. Coach of the San Antonio Spurs. I'm ashamed of James Harden. I'm ashamed of LeBron James. And they're kissing up to China for the sole purpose of making sure money flows to them and the NBA. And they snub and lie and absolutely denigrate our president and our United States. Your thoughts?
No, I agree with you, Zeb. It's sad and it's sickening to see what's going on in the NBA and in with some of these coaches and the people at the top. And but again, we have people out there that it's all about them. It's not about this country and doing the right things. And I think if they continue to do it, they'll see a drop in attendance and everything else, and they're going to see drops in revenues in this country. And hopefully, if that happens, that'll change their minds and restructure them and get them headed in the right direction.
Why shouldn't there be a drop in their income and their money and their shoe sales with Nike and Adidas and everything else? Why shouldn't there be? Here we have these LeBron James and James Harden, Popovich and Steve Kerr, all very liberal people that have showed a complete disdain for our American government, a complete disdain for our president, a total lack of respect, and then they kiss up to a communist nation that is so inhumane and a total lack of human rights, and they're kissing up to China. I find these people to be repulsive, and I will never on this program again do anything that promotes the NBA.
Yeah, I understand, Zeb, and but you got to understand they are far leftists, and I also got to understand the NBA is a unionized group of people, and so you're having behind the scenes they're getting pressure from the unions and the left, and to do these things, and this is just another part of the far left's program and propaganda going into 2000.
Oh, I understand it. I understand it, Mr. Bigo, my dear friend. I understand it completely. It's them that don't understand right and wrong and being aligned with your country and proud support of the red, white, and blue. I understand. They don't.
Well, they don't, but they may to some point, but they may be getting pressured behind the scenes, and they don't have the backbone to stand up and do the right thing. and this is what has to happen in this country, is people can't let the left and the unions and everybody else pressure them to do and say the wrong things. They got to stand up and have some backbones to do the right things for America and the people in this country.
Absolutely. And to me, you might not agree with this, but to me, this is a shining example of why I have shown my contempt and hatred for the term globalism. I don't believe in globalism. I believe in pledging allegiance to that red, white, and blue flag of this great United States of America. I'm an American citizen. America comes first, and this stupid, idiotic globalism is going to bring this country down.
Well, that's right, and that's what they want to do. And, when you look at globalism, you start looking at countries like Russia and Venezuela and Cuba and these other countries that are basically socialist, communist, in China, communist type countries. That's why they want globalism, so that they have the same control that's going on around the world. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, and then you take people that, they hold in great reverence Senator Mitt Romney and Susan Collins and others that have spoken out and said, well, we don't like Donald Trump or his actions, and then they speak up and say, we think he's being much too harsh on China. Too harsh on China? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that China is trying to get America to go second place on everything, whether it's rules and regulatory with climate change or whether it's selling us goods. They want to be number one, and they will stop at nothing to put the United States in number two.
Right. And I can tell you, I've met Mitt Romney. He was in Indianapolis when he was running years back, and I was in a room with about 40 other people with him, and I got to, in fact, I had my picture taken with him, and I stood there and tried to talk to him. And Zeb, he was about as friendly and outgoing as a wall. He just would not. He was just a difficult person to talk to, and the things he says are just things that he wants to say. He doesn't want to listen to other people, and he is I don't think he's a true Republican, to be honest with you. And as far as Trump goes out, and I got to say this because I think people need to hear this. He goes out and he talks to people, and he talks to and gets close to them. And he tries to get close to the people in China and other countries that we're dealing with. And people, give him a hard time for being close to people in China and wherever else. And here's what I say to people all the time: remember the old saying, "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer." And Trump does that because he understands it works.
Very good way to end the program. You're going to have to forgive me somewhat because I'm fired up this morning. I'm wearing my deodorant off. I'm mad. Thank you, Dave Bigo.
Well, I hope you have a good day, and I hope your weather improves out there.
All right, old buddy, back in Indianapolis, Indiana, my dear, dear friend, Dave Bigo. God bless you. See you next Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care now.
All right, buddy. Thanks. There's a straight shooter. And you want truth? You want truth? Listen to him. That man is a very truthful individual. I want to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I was over there the other day, and yes, they help me. They can help you. They will help you. All you've got to do is call, make an appointment. Aching and paining from a surgery or an accident or whatever the case, don't live like that. Please, they can help you with an exercise program and the use of the hydrotherapy pool. Oh, my, yes. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call, 678-1191. I'll repeat, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, absolutely the best. Wow, coming up in the next half-hour segment, we're going to be talking to RCAF USA CEO. Boy, there's a lot of letters of the alphabet. Bill Bullard will be coming on the program. He's been a mainstay on this program for quite a few years. Don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, and they're having a great big fall clearance right now. You can save a lot of money. Listen to this mattress closeout, up to 60% off. You can get the premium Beauty Rest mattresses starting at just $7.99. And then they're also having window coverings 40% off on the patterned roller shade, the double cell honeycomb, the wood horizontal shades, shutters, all of this and more. Yup. You better stop in today. Ask about their low price guarantee at Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland in Burley. They're waiting right now, right this minute, to serve you. Stop in and see them. Thank you very much. And before we get with our guest, I also want to remind you about Let's Ride. Now, we're seeing some we're seeing some really cold temperatures this morning. I'm not acclimated to where I'm ready for temperatures right now at 9:30 in the morning at 34 degrees and winds, which are going to put the wind chill down to where it's like 28, 27. That's cold. Anyway, it's going to be a little chilly for a little bit, but you know that we're going to start having Indian summer, up in the 60s and everything. You'd better stop over to Let's Ride. They've got all the four-wheelers and they've got all the side-by-sides, and you can get up in the hills, take some wonderful fall pictures, or if you're going hunting, I'm telling you, they're there to serve you at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4, and super nice people over there at Let's Ride with a great accessory department and a great service department to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true, this is where the fun is sold. Right now, we're going to go to where the information is available and ready for all of us regarding the livestock industry, as we've had this gentleman on our program many, many times up in Montana. I wonder how cold it is up there this morning. Good morning, RCAF USA. Bill Bullard, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Zeb.
What's
26 degrees with about 4 inches of heavy wet snow on the ground and the wind's blowing.
Oh, I'm sorry I complained. It doesn't sound real good up there. Bill, let me ask you, many times you've been on this program and we've had a very direct, honest conversation with you about the status of the livestock industry, what's going on politically, etc. What's going on with these radio frequency ID tags? Is that starting to rear its ugly head again?
Well, it is, and it was back in the mid-2000s when USDA set out on a mission to require every cattle producer, in fact, every livestock producer, chicken, hogs, lambs, cattle, horses, they wanted every animal to be electronically identified either with a radio frequency identification ear tag or with an implant. And then they wanted every livestock producer to register their premises, their headquarters, with the federal government, and then they wanted them to report to the federal government every time one of their animals is moved from one location to another. And we fought back aggressively, and so too did other organizations. And we sort of won, because the USDA came out in 2013 with a watered-down version of their original proposal. And the original proposal was known as the NAIS, the National Animal Identification System, or NAIS. And in 2013, they came down with a watered-down version, and it simply required that adult animals that are moved in interstate commerce, crossing state lines or crossing tribal boundaries, had to be officially identified. But you could use brands, tattoos, metal ear tags like the Bangs tags, back tags, and group lot identification. Well, USDA, after that new regulation was implemented, cattle producers have been complying with that since 2013. But the USDA has been working behind the scenes to resurrect its original mission. And in April of this year, the Secretary of Agriculture announced that as of January 1, 2023, all cattle producers who ship cattle across state lines or across tribal boundaries will now be required to affix a RFID ear tag in the animal's ear, and everyone that does that will be required to register their premises with the federal government in order to get a premises ID, a premises identification number. And so we saw what they did in April. We viewed that to be a blatant example of government overreach, a blatant example of an administrative agency trying to legislate, which is the domain of Congress. And the USDA did this in full violation of its 2013 rule. And importantly, it did this without following the law. The law requires that if the federal agency is going to impose a cost burden on citizens, it must first go through what is known as a notice and comment rulemaking process. And the Secretary of Agriculture did not do that. So last Friday, on October 4th, we filed a lawsuit in federal district court alleging that the Secretary of Agriculture and his administrator of the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service violated the law by issuing this mandate, and we're asking the court to stop that mandate and to declare the Secretary's actions unlawful. So, yes, it's rearing its ugly head again in full force, and we have experienced, a virtual wall in Congress and the administration trying to stop this. So now we're using the third branch of government, our U.S. judicial system, to put a final stop to this government overreach.
Bill, I'm very simplistic and I'm very blunt. If they, the USDA, broke the law in trying to implement these new versions of the law, bringing back the ear tags illegally, why can't we just flat tell them we're going to ignore the law?
Well, written into the 2013 rule, the livestock disease traceability moving interstate rule, are provisions that allow the government to impose sanctions on people who violate the law. Because an administrative rule that is passed as the 2013 was has the full force and effect of law. And so if you chose simply to ignore the law, you could then be subject to fines and penalties because that's written into the law as well. So the way to address this has to be you have to change the law. Or in this case, you have to prevent the law from ever being implemented because the government failed to follow the law in trying to implement it. And that's the procedure we're following right now.
Bill, the implementation of this idiocy, and if somebody's offended by that, that's their problem, not mine. The implementation of this idiocy is going to have such far-reaching effects on any and all involved in the livestock business or the transportation of livestock that the cost factor is going to be enormous. Am I wrong? Tell me if I am.
No, you're absolutely right. And in fact, the USDA's estimates are that this could cost $1 billion or more. And that's because in order to utilize the RFID ear tags, you also have to have an electronic wand to read the tags. You also have to have computer hardware and software in order to collect the data from the tags. Then you need cattle handling equipment that allow you to read the tags. So it will impose a huge cost burden. In fact, the RFID ear tag is the most expensive and burdensome means of animal identification that is available today. And so what the USDA is attempting to do is force this onerous, expensive, and burdensome system upon every cattle producer, regardless of whether they have the ability today to put the other costly equipment into effect. And so this is, I agree with you, this is idiocy, and it has to be stopped.
I'm looking at...
So we're taking action to do that.
I'm looking at situations that I think the general public should think about. You've got maybe a ranch that lays right on the border of one state, and they run their cattle in not only the state where the ranch headquarters is, but also on the neighboring state line. But they, in the fall, gather those cattle, and they have to be trucked back to the headquarters, etc. You're looking at a point there, Bill, where they would have to put all the electronic devices in those those ears before they leave state A to go back to state B. Then you're looking at the rodeo livestock business, to where they're on an interstate basis all the time with their horses, bulls, roping calves, and steers. They would have a very high impact of financial obligation. You're looking at 4-H, you're looking at fairs, you're looking at even events like the Denver National Western, which would be jeopardized because of this stupidity. Again, tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, in fact, those were the very concerns raised during the big fight in the mid-2000s, and that's what caused USDA to water down their proposal and issue the 2013 rule, because the 2013 rule addressed every one of those things you just mentioned, including the commuter herds that cross state lines and come back, and it provided provisions that allowed producers to be exempted from some of the requirements under some of those conditions. But the fact is that in April, when the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, issued the notice saying that they're going to phase out the metal ear tags and then require that all producers only use the RFID ear tags, it doesn't say anything else about those other examples you just described. So it's completely possible that the USDA's position is, regardless of those conditions, they will impose this requirement on all animals moving interstate. And so that's a huge problem, because this is not a rule. It was simply a notice, a statement that the USDA had issued, essentially issuing an edict to the cattle industry that they must comply. And again, this is a huge problem. It could prevent, some operations from being profitable, because these ear tags are very expensive. And there's been no effort on the part of the government to determine the cost-benefit analysis of this. And most importantly, they have not explained why the current system, where producers can use a variety of means of official identification, why that system isn't absolutely effective in controlling animal diseases, as we have done for over a century in the United States, eliminating, for example, tuberculosis and bringing it down to very low levels, eliminating brucellosis in our cattle herd, with the exception of the wildlife reservoir in the greater Yellowstone area. And so USDA is just, I think they're kowtowing to the multinational ear tag companies that stand to make windfall profits, that the government will mandate this upon the entire industry. And also for those producers who are currently using RFID ear tags, because that is among the options they can use today, those producers are going to see the premiums that they're now receiving for expending the cost of putting the RFID ear tags on. They're going to see those premiums evaporate as soon as the government mandates that every animal has to be affixed with that type of identification method.
I'm in the horse business and have been all my life, and I see absolutely nothing that's going to benefit me as a horse owner or the horse production business en masse. I don't see anything that's going to be a benefit to this. I see nothing more but a cost factor. And then you start talking about whether it's hogs going to a fair or a state fair location, or going interstate, like I mentioned a moment ago, going to the Denver National Western or any other form of livestock show. We don't have a problem that I'm aware of, so why aren't the current systems adequate?
Well, and that's exactly our position, because horses, for example, out of Montana, they have to be brand inspected before they leave the county. They have to have a veterinary health certificate, and the traceability of that animal can be readily done with the paperwork that accompanies those inspections.
Right.
And so we believe that we have a disease traceability system already in place that's really the envy of the world. Other areas of the world are fighting very pernicious diseases that we have been able to eradicate and control. And we did this using brands and Baines tags and other forms of identification that the USDA is now trying to throw to the wayside. And so this is almost unbelievable that the government is attempting to do this without any explanation. This has all been done behind the scenes. We know that the ear tag companies have been involved in making this decision, and we know that we were left out of the decision-making process in its entirety. And so we have to take some very affirmative and aggressive and decisive action, and we view that the court system to be the best way of stopping this cold.
Bill, just to put this in perspective for my listeners, let's just assume that Mr. and Mrs. Smith have a cow-calf operation of maybe 200 mama cows, etc., and they're subjected to this. What would the cost factors be added onto their budget for the year that they're not prepared for? I mean, what would they be looking at percentage-wise increase as far as outgo of cash to support this idiotic program?
Well, it depends on the type of RFID ear tag they're using, but they could be, for example, $5 per tag. So you're looking at $5 for 200 head. That's $1,000. Then you have to buy the electronic wand, and so you're adding that as an initial cost. And then cattle that are out grazing, are likely to lose an ear tag, so there has to be replacement ear tags, and then the costs associated of recording a new number for a substitute ear tag. And then there's a possibility that animals that are going through the sale or the market are going to be discounted if they don't have the original tag, because that raises the specter that there might be, some nefarious activity going on. And so we really don't know what the costs are. And for operations that don't have corrals in the particular pasture before they move them to another area, corrals with a head catch, for example, this could add significant cost to a operation the size that you just described. In fact, the cost could be enough to put that operation out of business, particularly right now where we're experiencing, depressed cattle prices, where 550 weight calves today are selling for the same price they were 9 years ago. And at the same time, we have record beef demand, we have strong beef exports, we have consumers willing to pay near record prices for beef. So somebody's making a lot of money in this industry, and it is not the cattle producer. And that's an important point, because they're trying to put the burden of costs all to be borne by the cattle producer, and the cattle producer is already receiving substantially less than what they should be receiving in the marketplace, where the fundamentals are so strong for beef.
Absolutely.
Strong beef demand, strong prices, and strong export markets. Something's terribly wrong with our industry, and our markets are broken, and you don't add another cost as a means of solving that particular problem, will just cause more producers to go out of business.
Absolutely. Bill, what would you want my audience to do? I mean, how should they take up arms and fight against this idiocy with these tags?
Well, it's really all about the numbers and the critical mass. RCAF USA is the largest producer-only cattle association in the United States. We have over 5,000 members. We need 10,000 members to really make a difference in Washington. And so what we recommend is that producers choose the organization that is out fighting for them, because only an organization is going to stop this. And right now, only RCAF USA is involved in stopping this. So we urge producers to join with us to support their industry, so we can restore the opportunity for independent cattle producers to be profitable in this highly profitable beef supply chain.
Absolutely. Every time I have you on the program, I feel better because you explained all these issues, and I'll keep plugging away at it here, Bill, and I certainly hope that you'll come back. If people want more information about RCAF USA, what would you tell them?
Go to our website at r-calfusa.com, or they can call us at 406-252-2516.
I really appreciate RCAF USA CEO Bill Bullard. He's been a friend of this program for a long, long time. I got to tell you that I was watching RFD TV the other day, and I saw you being interviewed, and you were wearing short-sleeve shirt and a straw hat. You're not doing that this morning.
No.
Bill,
I don't recall ever wearing a short-sleeve shirt. Sure wear a straw hat, but not right now.
Well, you were leaning on the fence. I thought you had a short-sleeve shirt on, but it looked like it was in a lush green, warmer climate than 26 degrees up in Montana currently.
Oh, yeah. We were doing an interview with Tommy Lahren of Fox Nation News, and I think you saw that I was wearing a vest.
Ah.
My shirt.
Bill, we always appreciate you. God bless you, man. Come back soon. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right, Bill Bullard with RCAF USA, real straight shooter. I appreciate him. Thank you very much. Holy cow, let's see. Oh, my goodness, the weather forecast. I almost went into another subject and forgot the weather, and believe me, it's something to talk about, and we're going to have that in just a moment. Want to mention that our weather sponsor is Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, and they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. You know, you want to make sure you've worked hard for your money. You've worked hard for your family's security and everything. Don't just let it be taken away or given away to somebody else or the government or whatever. Work with the people that can help you. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they've got offices at 1710 Overland in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. The best, the professionals, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And right now, here's old Scott Man with the weather.
Well, it is going to be blustery today. Good morning with your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. For today, snow showers are likely and patchy, blowing snow. Highs are going to be around 42 for tonight. Scattered snow showers, then partly cloudy, a low of 16. Now for tomorrow, it will be sunny, clearing off a little bit. Highs of 40. The wind will blow just a little bit. Then for Thursday night, clear, a low of 17. Friday, sunny and high of 50. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Have a great day.
Thank you, Scott, man. Appreciate it. And, of course, brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. And believe me, they've worked for us and they will work for you with the best of accounting services. Get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Wow, what do we got cooking for the rest of the morning? Next hour, I'm really, really looking forward to having Jackie and Russ Jones on our program. And Jackie has a business of furnishing and providing to radio programs like mine a lot of the real conservative Christian people that we've had on the air. And I want to talk to her about an upcoming trip they're going to have to Israel. That's going to be really interesting. Then at 10:30 this morning, I really want you to listen to Kevin Gutman. And he is a mortgage banker and has written the book called The Swiss Army Knife of Retirement Cash Flow. And that's a pretty big title, but I'm looking forward to it. And he's going to be talking about reverse mortgages, so don't miss that. I want to remind you, too, about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, employee benefits, all of this and so much more. And it's so easy to have them work for you. All you've got to do is just give them a call. Make an appointment at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, very dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you got to do is call them. 436-4424. They're located at Highway 24 in Rupert, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Calls are welcome. I've got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a jingle. Love to talk to you this morning. While I'm waiting for your call that I'm sure is coming in, don't forget again, let your house welcome you home with a perfect temperature. The iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox features remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature from anywhere, any place. All you got to do is call Ramsey Heating and Electric. They're teamed up with Lennox and offering up to $1,600 in rebates on new systems. So keep comfortable. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Is it really a good morning?
Any day that you can get out of bed and have a breakfast and say, good morning, it's a great day.
Well, I would like to do all that, but I got up early this morning, no water.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what happened or anything, and so I hooked a hose to my neighbors, and everything and got it going, and somehow it started working again. So it must have just lost its prime.
Oh, my goodness.
Kind of like me. I think I've lost my prime.
I'm falling into the same boat. What else did you want to mention to me other than you have a lack of water in your home?
Well, I was just going to comment on what kind of shape we're in this country because of the, now the president, that guy's got more guts than anybody I've ever known. He just won't give up, but if he does, this country's done.
No, I agree with that. And Keith, I'm glad to hear you say that because I have said for a long time on this program, and you've heard me say it, that what's going to happen to America all of a sudden with all this balderdash, and I cleaned up the words I wanted to use, but all the balderdash that's going on against this president and about him and his family, etc., what's going to happen if all of a sudden he says, okay, that's it. I can't take the strain. I can't take the stress. My wife, my kids, they're very important to me. I'm done. I think a lot of people don't realize how serious and devastating that would be.
Yeah, and just think what they will do to Pence.
Oh, my.
He doesn't have, I think he's a good man. He really is. But I don't think he can take the pressure that President Trump does because President Trump, nothing seems to really take him down.
Well, I agree. We don't know what kind of a gentleman President, or pardon me, I'm already saying it, Vice President Pence may be as a president because nobody knows how the person's going to be until they're tested. I don't want to see that test come about. I want to see the Pence and the Trump ticket rise again and hold the office for 4 more years after 2020.
I can't understand why this son of a gun Democrat can stand there with a kind of a smirk on his face and lie to us. Just flat out lie.
Well, evidently it's not that hard because it's not that hard to understand because he's been doing it for quite some time. Keith, I got to run to the news, but I do appreciate it. Hope you get your water. Hope you can take your shower. All of us hope you can take your shower. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for your call.
Yeah, I think everything is good again.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a little break and send it back to the big boys. They're going to mess up everything we've put together over the last hour, and that's CBS News. And then we'll come back with our third and final hour. Have a great day, Zeb at the Ranch. I need to jump on here really quick before I give you all the great accolades of our sponsors and everything. And Wheels, if you've got your headset on and you're by your microphone, I've had some calls and people are saying that the network news was cutting out on occasion, and the reason being is the severe high winds that are going through this area have affected the receiver at the station. Is that correct?
It has. We have that for moments, during, especially fall and leading into winter. So hopefully we can get that fixed. And
okay.
Like I had talked about before the show, it doesn't affect yours. So
No, I know. But during the news, I had some calls, and I just want to tell everybody that these winds almost at 30 miles an hour are affecting it a little bit. So I wanted to let them know. No fault of the station, but somebody just call Mother Nature's office and tell her to slow down the winds. It might help, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Zeb at the Ranch, hour number 3, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations with a big fall tire sale going on right now for your driving safety, along with some of our other fine advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Want to remind you once again about our good friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. They're offering the iComfort Wi-Fi thermostat from Lennox featuring remote control access so you can adjust your home's temperature anywhere, anytime. Absolutely. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox offering up to $1,600 in rebates on a brand new home comfort system. So keep yourself comfy. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. I get a chance right now to visit with I think both of them are on the phone. I hope they are. Husband and wife team, Russ and Jackie Jones. And Jackie, of course, is the founder of Truth PR. And I've used that organization many times for some of the high-quality guests that have been on my show. And I say good morning to Russ and Jackie Jones. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb, and it's Jackie only. Russ got called out to one of those business meetings at the last moment, so I am so thrilled to get to talk to you.
Well, I bet you he said all the way out the door, I got her to do the program all by herself.
He did, and he's still doing it, yes.
Jackie, give us a little background about you. I mean, we basically at my company, Shoot 2 Promotions, stumbled on to you and Truth PR, and I've got to give you a compliment right up front. The people that you have supplied to us to come on the radio and talk about various subjects have been outstanding, and I want to give you kudos for that. You really have a great business.
Well, thank you. I've worked really hard at building it, and I consider it not really a job. It's not work to me. It's more like a calling because I get to promote people who are doing great things, even bigger than themselves, So it's a passion of mine to get their voices heard because their alternate views are sometimes not heard in the media. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I love my guests, and it's just a joy to get to do. And I get to meet people like you and go to fabulous places with other incredible people, so I'm just having fun.
Jackie, let me ask you, how does one start in this kind of a business? I mean, I don't want to get into this. I want to talk about Israel, but how does one get started in providing guests for area talk shows or national talk shows like mine?
Well, I sort of stumbled into it. My husband was a producer for well-known popular DC show, and he always had a hard time finding guests speaking from the conservative viewpoint. So I started helping him a little bit, and then I just discovered, well, this is really fun, and nobody else is doing it, and I think I would enjoy it. So I created this job for myself. I've always been in marketing and PR, so I market people now.
I think it's wonderful. In fact,
it's been great.
Absolutely, and the quality, the high quality of the people that we've had on the air from your organization, outstanding. But I want to talk a little bit about something that you're going to be doing this next year in 2020. I understand you're going to take a tour, and I'm envious because I've always wanted to go to the Holy Land, and you're going to be visiting Israel. Is that correct?
That's correct, and I've been there 3 times now, and after the first time I went there, you know how as Americans, we know what our land and our towns and our mountains and our rivers look like, but when we read our Bibles, we can't even imagine what Jerusalem or Mount Arbel or the Jordan River looks like. We just can't even imagine what these places are, so we try. But what happens when you go to Israel, it adds sights, smells, tastes, colors, feelings to what you're reading, and it wakes it up and makes it have more meaning to you. So the names and places and events of the Bible are converted from our imagination, which isn't very good, to real images. And to me, that's the most impactful thing that I got from my first trip to Israel. And I want to share that experience with everybody.
I just can't even imagine what it's like to see these historical sites in the Bible, and they come to life before your own eyes. And I guess my first question would be to you, when your first visit to Israel, what was the biggest surprise or shock to you about the country and the people? Was there something that you didn't expect that you saw firsthand that really surprised you?
Oh, I could list a handful. The first one was, in America, how we watch the news and hear all these horrible things about Israel and worry if it's safe or not. I felt safer in Israel than I do in America.
Oh, my.
That was my first shock. The food is incredible. The people are wonderful. Seeing the places and getting to walk where Jesus walked, I can't put words to it, and it's something that everybody just needs to experience, because you don't get it till you get there. And after you go there the first time, you will have a draw on your heart to go back.
Oh, my.
And share that experience and see more, because it's a small country. It's not bigger than the state of New Jersey, but there is so much to see. You cannot see it all in one trip. But my goal is to help people get a glimpse. I've made it unique in that I know a lot of people over there, so I'm trying to connect people to people and give people something, not just go see the sites and learn about them, which we will be doing, but also to get connected. So that's my goal, is to meet people who are actually living in Israel and get the truth from the trip.
Let me ask you this. When you're over there and you're visiting with these people, regardless of what occupation that they have, you said you felt safer there. But what about these people that live there 24/7, 365, and literally, and I don't mean to sound negative on this, but they've got targets on their back from other people and other countries. What's their attitude like?
Well, the best I can describe it is they've had invasions and political turmoil in this area for over 4,000 years, so it's sort of normal for them. They're used to the presence of barbed wire and armed soldiers, and it's nothing new. They're prepared. I'm not saying it's fun to live that way, but they are prepared for anything and everything. And when I was over there, every time you do see people, young people, walking around with their guns, protecting, and they're just prepared for anything that could happen. And you just feel safer.
Are they?
I don't even know how to explain it.
Jackie, are they a society in Israel that is closer knit than we are here in the United States? In other words, is there more of an allegiance with the younger people, middle-aged and older people, to their country, more so than what's happening in America today?
Absolutely. When young people graduate from school, they are all required to go into the service. Therefore, they're all loyal to the country, and they work hard to protect it, and it's ingrained in them from a young age. Personally, I think we should be doing the same here, so that our young people know we have a country, know what it stands for, and they live here. We should love our country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go into actually seeing some of the actual historical sites that are in the Bible. Are they very well preserved, or give us a little status report about the various cities and the various locations?
Well, I have 10 days tour planned, and I've tried to cover a lot of territory, and I probably don't have enough time to hit all of them, but I can just pick out some for you. Like Magdala, we will be visiting Magdala, which is where a first-century synagogue has been discovered, and they believe that's where Jesus taught. That's where Mary Magdalene was born, that area of the Sea of Galilee. So we'll get to walk around and see real archaeological artifacts that they are restoring and protecting and sharing with people as we come over and visit. We'll also go to a place like Nazareth Village, which is one of the last surviving first-century farmlands of Nazareth, and it has been restored to where it's just like it was in Jesus' day. So we'll get to tour watchtowers and wine presses and stone quarries and visit the spring-fed irrigation systems that are carved out of the bedrock. It's just beautiful. Other places we'll go is like in Bethel. I don't know how many of these places you want me to send. You can certainly go to my website and see every day where we will be going. We will visit museums like the Joseph Baum Museum and meet owners of that and share Holocaust stories that people lived, and meet Holocaust survivors up in Akko, because I have a friend there running a nonprofit organization that helps the last living survivors of the Holocaust, so we can hear some real-life stories.
Oh, my. You know, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is knowing that you had been there previously. When you first went to Israel and you first walked on what I will term as holy ground, knowing that you're probably and very possibly standing on some of the same ground where Jesus walked on the face of the earth, what did that give you for a feeling?
It was like an awe feeling, and I use that word carefully because you can't, that's what I'm talking about, that draw back to the land. It's once you go there and you experience that and you walk where you know he walked and you visit this tomb and all these sites where you know these stories happened for real, like in Bethel. It's where known as a place where Jacob was running from his brother Esau, and he fell asleep on a stone and had a dream about a star that stretched from the heavens, thronged with angels. That's where that dream happened. You see these places, and these Israeli people know these stories like the back of their hands because they live with it and see it every day. Mm-hmm. And their knowledge puts our knowledge to shame. And I understand it because I went there, and I'm a Baptist preacher's daughter. I grew up in the church and knew all these stories, but I know nothing compared to what these people know and see and live with. So I can't even explain the awe of getting the opportunity.
Wow.
To this land.
Let me ask you.
Once you do it, you never get over it. And I don't say that lightly, but you never get over it.
Absolutely. I guess I'm going to show my true colors here because I always ask people that have been in an area or a nation that I have never visited, how was the food? I love to eat.
The best food in the world I've ever eaten. And I say that honestly, and I've enjoyed some great food. And I love to cook. It was the freshest food ever. I can't even, it was better than anything I've ever had. It was fresh. It tasted like real food. There's no GMO stuff. They grow it. They know how to cook. It was just wonderful.
Wow.
Can't say enough about the food.
Let me ask you.
I felt healthier.
Let me ask you about the trip itself coming up. And the way I'm understanding this, you're going to have a link that people can basically follow you and your husband on this trip. Explain that to me a little bit, would you please?
No, we're just taking tours over there. We will be sharing it as we go, but I'm inviting people to go. I would love to conduct a tour or two every year. We're going to do this one in May 24th to June 2nd. 2020, and I have one lined up in June 2021 as well. But it'll be 10 days of touring, 9 nights, great hotels, great food. I have it ready to go, and I have a website page on my website at Truth PR called Upcoming Israel Tours, and then people can reserve a spot, get help with their flight, whatever they need.
Oh, absolutely outstanding. I can't thank you enough for coming on the program and talking about this, and I want you to chide your husband Russ a little bit about not being on the program. We'll get him the next time, but I'm going to keep in touch with you, not only for this trip and finding out more information, but also for some of your great guests, I say, that you provide for my program. Thank you very much, Jackie Jones, for being on our show this morning.
You're welcome. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you so much.
God bless you, and thank you, and have a safe trip. And I really want to hear about the next one, too. Thanks, Jackie.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Wonderful lady right there, and I've been very fortunate. You know, on this program, there's so many people that you don't see or hear about. Now, number one, I've got to thank her first and foremost every single day, my lovely wife. And Deanne and I get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, and usually by 5 we're in this office and we're calling New York and we're calling Washington, D.C., and we're getting upgrades on various stories that are in the news, etc. We're talking to various people about providing guests on various subjects. Well, this is where Jackie Jones comes in. She has been supplying us many, excuse me, of the top very conservative and very Christian people to come on our program. She's just one of the many sources that we use, and she does a wonderful, wonderful job. So it's not just me taking the glory, if you will, of putting this talk show on and having these guests all of a sudden snap my fingers and they're there. No, it's people like Deanne and Jackie and many, Matt Martini back in New York City and many more that really have helped us get this program, and the caliber of guests that we provide, whether it's Judge Janine Pirro from Fox News or whether it's Brigitte Gabriel. It doesn't make any difference who they are. Brigadier General Robert Spalding, all of these people you'll see on TV on various news programs. I really want to give tribute and a thank you to all the people that work for me and with me, helping me provide you with the top people in the news. Thank you very much. Wow. Let's see. What else have we got cooking here? I've got a couple of commercials to take care of, and I've got time for another phone call. Give me a jingle on the landline. I want to tell you that Greystone Crossing, and this is Independent Senior Living, they have got a wonderful notice for all caregivers that if you, the caregivers, need to be out of town for a couple of days or a few weeks, why don't you call Greystone Crossing and with the excellent home environment at Greystone Crossing, have your seniors stay there. It is a beautiful place. How do I know that? I've taken the tour. I've seen everything, and the people, Matt and Kelly Wiggins, are the nicest, most conscientious people, and I urge you to call and find out more. The number, of course, is 650-4979. I'll repeat that number again, 650-4979. Matt and Kelly Wiggins, they'd be happy to share all this information with you about Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with their friends. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, this recent turn in the weather, you know, we just kind of ho-hum that off, but this is very serious. If these potatoes cannot get dug and processed, all these people who work at the plants, all these things, it's going to be a devastating thing. Don't you agree?
No, I totally agree. And I, of course, with my family's involvement, my daughter marrying into a large potato-growing family, I'm very concerned about what's going on with the weather. I'm very concerned about agriculture in general. I don't think that agriculture at all gets the respect and the caring that it needs to from the general populace, and especially with what's going on in the larger cities today, most people haven't got a clue. Not a clue as to what and how their food gets on their plate.
Yeah, my prayers go out to these farmers and people who are in need right now. They're having a tough time as it is.
Yep.
And then for it to be devastated like this, it's going to be a real tough time.
I would not blame anyone, and I say this more or less a little facetiously, but I wouldn't blame anyone if somebody got poked in the nose if they were touting global warming on a day like this. It might not be real good for their healthy condition for the rest of the day.
Well, I can remember back to 1985 when this same thing occurred, and it was pretty darn devastating.
Yes.
And it can happen.
Absolutely.
But all I can say is, let's pray for a miracle.
No question about it. Prayer, I think, is the answer, always will be the answer, and I really commend you for that, Keith. I got another call quickly. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you. Caller, you're on the air. Quickly, I've got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hello, Bob.
Every time I see Nancy Pelosi, I think, boy, I'd like to be her cosmetologist. It must take a pound of pancake flour to get her ready for the TV show.
You know, Bob, I got to ask you this. When you were a young man, going all the way back to grade school, high school, etc., did you have these weird, wacky thoughts way back then?
Yeah. And you're cutting out a little bit, so I can't hear everything.
Well, I tell you what, I'm sorry if I'm cutting out. We've had some problems with the wind and everything. But, Bob, I always appreciate your calls because I don't know whether to run scared or just start laughing. So thank you very much.
Well, just start laughing at Nancy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, honestly, and I'm not trying to denigrate the lady whatsoever, but if you see close-ups of Nancy Pelosi on the news or close-ups of colored pictures in various magazines and everything, kind of makes you wonder if she's taken away makeup from other women. I tell you, she's really got it pounded on there. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly, I got exactly 30 seconds.
Okay, well, the spuds are in the ground. It depends on the moisture in the ground, and I know they have to be moist to dig them properly. But it's going to be 17 tonight, 17 tomorrow night, and then it's going to warm up. So I don't know that it's going to be as bad as that, but I'm not saying that it isn't. But if the spuds are kind of poking out of the ground a little, you know, where they, I'm not saying, but out of the hill, they could get nicked. But, and then the corn, they're chopping corn still, and that's going to get hit. And, but they've got to finish. I noticed that just around the corner from your house, they're still chopping corn.
Oh, yeah.
North of the river from your house, they're chopping corn.
Yep.
Because I was over there yesterday, and so, but, yeah, we don't want our farmer friends to get hurt financially, because that's what drives this economy and keeps me and everybody else in business.
Absolutely, and I got to run. I'll leave it with that. We all have to appreciate and respect our agricultural neighbors. Thank you very much. Got to run. Wheels is going to take it away for a little bit. I'll be right back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, it is blowing outside and a little chilly still, only about 35 degrees outside. I'm not used to it. My fat little chubby body is not used to having to pile on the sweaters and the coats. It's chilly. Morning, and we want to remind everybody about Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness, excellent people to work with. Curtis and Lorena with all your electronic needs. Absolutely. That's not brag, that's a fact. Home theater systems, all the video surveillance cameras, very important to protect you and your property. Car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems. And you come home tired for work, put your feet up, they've got the best of TVs. Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TV's great selection. Open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6. And don't forget, they've also got the Ring hardware for your front door to know who and what's going on outside. Patterson's East Main in Burley, 421 East Main exactly. And the number 678-6997. I've been anxious to talk to this man that's coming up next. He has written a book called The Swiss Army Knife of Retirement Cash Flow. Stories of freedom and assurance to put your mind at ease. And we say good morning to mortgage banker, Mr. Kevin Gutman. How are you, sir? Good to have you on the program.
Well, thank you so much. Good morning to you.
I really was anxious to get you on the program because I'm an old man. I'm probably a lot older than you are, and I've got a lot of questions about retirement and about reverse mortgages. And give us a little bit before we start of your background, who you are and what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally from Orange County, California. My parents were realtors and investors, and so we talked about real estate all the time growing up. And when I started my career, I worked for a nonprofit. I used to travel around the country and even around the world and raise money for people in poor parts of the world to have clean water, medical clinics, schools for their kids, small business loans, etc. And that was a lot of hard work and enjoyable work. But I have 5 kids, and I was traveling too much, so I left that. End of 2002. My wife comes from a real estate background as well. We started flipping houses, and ultimately in 2004, I got into the mortgage business.
Okay, now I noticed on your bio sheet, and this really hit me between the eyes when I read this. It says, quote, Kevin believes in doing business and living life by the golden rule and aids his clients as though they were his own family. Explain that a little bit. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Christian, and so at the end of the day, I work for a bank, but ultimately I answer to God, so I just want to make sure I'm doing what's best for people, and I have a clear conscience, and when I go to sleep at night and lay my head on the pillow, I know I've done my best and done a good job for folks.
I respect that, and I like the way you said it. Kevin, I'm not going to lie to you that I thought at one time reverse mortgages were kind of the neat way to go when you get to be seniors, and then I've had people say, oh, don't do that. That's not good. It's not good for your stability of your wealth and your input on your home. What is the real story about reverse mortgages? What do you want to tell my audience this morning?
Well, the program, first reverse mortgage, was taken out in 1961. A widow was about to lose her home, but she had a lot of equity, and so the bank allowed her to make payments, quote-unquote, from her equity instead of monthly payments. In other words, it was a deferred interest loan. For 27 years, there were lots of companies around the country that offered these. In fact, many countries before the U.S. Started regulating them had these, like Canada, the U.K., Japan, Korea, Australia, etc. So we were kind of late to the game, but in 1988, President Reagan and Congress passed a trial bill for 10 years to see if this would help seniors stay in their home and age in place, not have a monthly mortgage payment, and not outlive their money. And after 10 years, they made the law permanent. Over 1 million people have taken advantage of this program in the last 31 years. AARP did a survey of people who had reverse mortgages in 2007. 94% were satisfied or very satisfied. So in a nutshell, what it does is it helps seniors stay in their home, eliminate their mandatory monthly mortgage payment, and increase their cash flow if they have equity where their house can start paying them.
Kevin, let me ask you, is anyone that's a homeowner, and let's say they've owned their home over 20 years, is anyone or everyone capable or able to get involved with a reverse mortgage?
Yeah, that's a good question. Here's the qualifications. At least one of the borrowers needs to be 62 or older. It needs to be their primary home at least 6 months or more a year. They need to be able to prove that they can pay the property taxes, insurance, maintain the home, and they have to have 60% or more equity.
Okay. Now, with that 60% equity, let's stop and put a period right there, and then correlate that to the 8 myths about reverse mortgages that people that are interested, they should know right from the get-go. Do you want to discuss some of those, please?
Sure. A lot of people feel like, in fact, one of the first questions they ask is, well, I guess I have to sign my home over to the government. No, you don't. You stay untitled the whole time. People always want to know if it's risky, but over the last several years, they've improved the program and made it safer for seniors, put in safeguards like mandatory counseling, mortgage insurance, which means that they'll never get a bill at the end if they owe more than the house is worth. The mortgage insurance makes up any shortfall. They've capped the fees that can be charged. I think for years this was seen as a loan of last resort, where, people are like, well, I guess I have to, I run out of money. But I've got people with money calling me now asking about this and taking advantage of it because, let's say they own their house free and clear, they've got $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 in equity, sitting there earning 0% interest. And we can take 40 to 50% of that and earn 4 to 6% a year guaranteed compound interest on their equity. So people who have money can't stand the fact that they're not earning money on their money, and so they're taking advantage of it because when they draw it out, it's all tax-free.
Let me interrupt you on occasion, Kevin, and ask questions. And this thought just came to mind. What about families, a mom and dad, and they've got their will, and they've got a couple of kids, and the kids have got their own properties, they've married, and some are out of the area, whatever. A reverse mortgage probably would fit that scenario very well because they're not going to will the home to the kids.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people do want to give their home to their kids, but only 1% of the kids want the home. They want the equity. And so what happens at the end is when the last person moves out, the heirs have 6 months to sell or refinance and pay off the note, and then whatever proceeds are left go to the estate, or however the will is determined. That's how the proceeds are distributed.
Okay. Now, when you do this reverse mortgage, if I assume that people sit down, they go over the paperwork and everything, one of the questions I saw, one of the myths I saw on these information sheets about having you on the air was about the possible effect of taxes and Social Security. Is there any problem there?
If somebody's on Medicaid, in other words, they're getting help from the state, they just don't want to have a large balance sitting in their checking account. But if they just draw on it periodically, monthly, for example, to pay their bills, it shouldn't be an issue. But I'm not a tax advisor, but for the most part, for the vast majority of people, it's not a problem.
Now, a lot of people might think, oh, goody, I'm going to check into this today about a reverse mortgage, but what about homes that are eligible, or is there a restriction on what type of homes can have a reverse mortgage?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the eligible properties are single-family homes, FHA-approved condos, townhomes, patio homes. Even if somebody lives in a 2 to 4 unit home, a duplex or triplex or fourplex, if they live in one of the units, those are eligible.
Okay. And then one of the other questions I see on this sheet, and I really want an answer on this in your terms, what about when you get the proceeds on a reverse mortgage, does somebody or some big brother in government say what you can do with the proceeds?
Yeah, that's the beauty, Zeb. The only thing that you can't do with the proceeds is purchase an annuity. And here's why. Really, in effect, you're annuitizing your equity already in monthly payments. And there's no penalty to take the money. There's no time period where the money's tied up. So the government doesn't want you to tie your money up and pay fees or penalties putting it in an annuity. But you can buy a second home, you can travel, you can update your home. They don't really restrict how you can use the money.
Okay, now, Kevin, we've talked about some of the destruction of myths that are not true, but now, are there, in your opinion, as a mortgage banker and also knowing a lot about real estate, what are some of the possible pitfalls of a reverse mortgage that maybe people aren't knowing about or learning about?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. So, there will be less equity at the end. So if somebody's concerned about leaving all the equity of their home to their heirs, there's going to be less if they do a reverse mortgage. That's one of the downsides. Another one would be the fees. So, as I mentioned, there's mortgage insurance on these loans. 2% of the value of the home is paid in mortgage insurance. So on a $200,000 house, that's $4,000. It's paid from equity. People rarely write a check for it, but still, it makes the closing costs more expensive. I will point out it's less expensive than selling your house, however. So you go to sell your house, you're going to pay 6%. Mm-hmm. The fees on a reverse mortgage are probably maybe a little over 4%.
Now, I want to ask you a little bit about retirement. And I want to talk to you about your book, The Swiss Army Knife of Retirement Cash Flow. You've written this book, and I want to ask you, are Americans today, in your opinion, that are reaching retirement age or have passed retirement age, are we saving any money, or are we in real big danger trying to rely on Social Security or anything else?
Well, the answer, I can tell you from the research I've done and the people I meet, it's a concern. The number one fear that seniors have is outliving their money. You may know, Zeb, that baby boomers were the first generation that had to fund their own retirement, and they've underfunded it. For many people, they're house rich and cash poor. We all have three buckets of money we draw from: income, assets, and equity. And when people tap into equity, it just makes the other two last longer. So that gives people a little bit of comfort to know that they can access their equity.
Right. What are you trying to tell people in this book, The Swiss Army Knife of Retirement? What do you want them to take away, or what's the main theme, if there is one main theme? What do you want them to know?
Yeah, good question. I wrote the book because the program is very misunderstood, and so I just wanted to educate people through stories of my clients on how people have used reverse mortgages to improve their lives in 5 areas: housing, cash flow, medical dream, and legacy. And so as they read it, the light bulb's going to come on and say, wow, I didn't realize that my life could be fuller and richer if I was able to tap into my equity.
You know, I really like your attitude, and I like the way you tied your Christian attitude into your being a mortgage banker and knowing about reverse mortgages. But now, the programs you said have changed from the initial concept of reverse mortgages. Are there differences and variations with various banks and companies that offer reverse mortgages? I mean, how does the consumer know what's the best for them?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a federal program, so all of us have the same program across the country, and I can lend in all 50 states. So one of the improvements they've made is something called non-borrowing spouse. And the way that used to be is if somebody wasn't 62 and the borrower moved out of the house, the non-borrower would have to move out. Well, they fixed that a few years ago, about 5 years ago. Now the non-borrower can remain in the home, which was a silly thing that they had, but they fixed it. Another thing that was a mistake or a problem was that seniors were getting foreclosed on for not paying their property taxes. Well, truth be told, if anyone doesn't pay their property taxes, whether they have a mortgage or not, the county or the lender is going to foreclose. Well, they fixed that with something called financial assessment, where now we have to prove that people have enough income to pay the property taxes, homeowners insurance, and maintenance on the house. So foreclosure rates have gone down tremendously. But to specifically answer your question, I think your listeners want to work with somebody that specializes in this and that understands the program and is really going to put their interests first.
Absolutely. You know, Kevin, I wish you a lot of success, and I certainly hope that you'll consent to coming back on the program. But the book itself, The Swiss Army Knife of Retirement Cash Flow, where can people get a copy of this book?
It's at Amazon, or they can go to my website, reversemortgagebook.info. Or if people want to learn more about reverse mortgages, I've got a great site that answers a lot of questions, reversemortgagerevolution.com.
I really want to get a copy of this book. I want to read it, I want to study it, and I want to have you back on. And I appreciate mortgage banker Kevin Gutman and author for being on the program this morning. God bless you, man. Have a great day, and I'll look forward to having you back.
God bless you. Thank you, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Really interesting, and there's been a lot of talk about reverse mortgages. I know Deanna and I have sat down and studied it a little bit, and Kevin seems like a real straight shooter. I'm going to get that book and have him back on the program about reverse mortgages. Right now, I better get the weather forecast on here, and then we'll take some calls. I've got some time for some calls. I want to remind you that our weather being brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Woo! Ooh, it's chilly in this studio. I'll tell you that right now. Deanne turned the pellet stove on. She did during the news at 10 o'clock, and I don't blame her. It's cold in here. Scarrow's Meats, Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my goodness, all the delicious meats. All the different bacons and all the delicious sausages and bratwurst and tri-tips and pork ribs. Oh, my goodness. You better get a hold of them today. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Number to call, 324-7657. Scarrow's Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's old Scott Man with the weather.
Well, it is going to be blustery today. Good morning with your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron. For today, snow showers are likely and patchy blowing snow. Highs are going to be around 42 for tonight. Scattered snow showers, then partly cloudy, a low of 16. Now for tomorrow, it will be sunny, clearing off a little bit. Highs of 40. The wind will blow just a little bit. Then for Thursday night, clear, a low of 17. Friday, sunny and a high of 50. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. Have a great day.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, great day and temperatures at 17 degrees. No bad correlation there. Anyway, our weather brought to you by Scarrow's Meats. Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. And like I said, go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. And the number to call is 324-7657. Scarrow's Meats, changing the way we eat, one very delicious bite at a time. Okay, your turn. Now, come on. We've had a lot of different subjects, a lot of different things to discuss this morning, so now give me a jingle. Let me know what your thoughts are. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting, I want to talk to you just a minute. We've got tomorrow's Thursday. And like you know, Sharon Wilmot and myself, I said her name right, by the way. Sharon, I hope you give me a gold star on the wall for that. We alternate Thursdays. Tomorrow is my Thursday to fill my program, and then next week will be Sharon's again. Tomorrow, of course, the Chamber of Commerce report, and we've got the lovely Rita Ramsey coming on, and we've got Cassia County School Days. And then we're also going to have a gentleman talking about how our Second Amendment, our gun ownership rights, are being eroded and taken away from us. And Dan Wass is going to be on the program. He's been here in the past, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy listening to what he's got to say. So that's tomorrow on Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, again, I put it out to you. We've got a little time. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I am waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, about our major sponsor, and that is your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with right now what's going on, a big, I mean really big, remember Ed Sullivan, he used to say really big shoe? Well, there's a really big tires sale going on right now at all 7 locations. You better go in and save money and drive safely. At your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, they've been doing the right thing since 1952, and believe me, along with the tires, the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and I can't think of anything worse than to have a dead battery. You go hunting or whatever, and you turn the key and nothing. Well, make sure you've got a good battery, or you need to change it. They've got the best at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you very much. Wheels, by the way, I was going to ask you, the ice on the old ramp going into the K-Bar Studios, hopefully you're not going to be scooting up one end and flying off the other.
You know, I'm hoping I'm not going to. This morning I didn't have to, thank gosh.
Have you gone to the pulley system that I talked to you about?
You know, I've been trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to make it efficient and everything. I'm not saying I forgot about it, but I'm making sure that it works efficiently.
Well, now, don't worry about efficiency. Don't worry about any of the hazards. Let me install it for you. I know it'll work, but I'm not sure how safe it'll be, but I know it'll get you from point A at the bottom to point B at the top in a record amount of time. I've tried this concept. Oh, yeah, there were a few injuries, but nothing serious.
Well, you know, anything that will help me get up the ramp, especially during winter. But you know, that's very gracious of you to want to take the gratitude of doing that for me.
Well, yeah, I'd like to come over and see if my weird idea works, and so I might just stop over there some afternoon and see if I can implement some of these ideas to escalate you into the studio a lot faster.
Well, and if you came over and we did that, and I gave you, we kind of went off each other, kind of bounced off each other, maybe once we got to a certain extent, we could get it patented, and maybe we could make...
Do you have a good friend that can give you a crash helmet?
I have a couple helmets myself, especially for when I ride my...
Okay, well, so. You may need it, because my concept, it's not going to be just a real push and pull. It's going to be escalated to, are you prepared for 60 miles an hour?
With the fact that the ramp, you have to go up it, and then you have to turn left to come into the door,
all I can say about that turn left, don't worry about it. Okay?
Okay, I definitely...
Let me take a quick call. Caller, real quick, I've got about 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
Zeb, I just seen your Stetson flyby and a resistol.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am not going to go out without stampede strings today, let me tell you.
God bless.
All right, take care. Caller, real quick, I got just a matter of seconds. Go ahead. And they are backing up. I certainly hope they find their destination. We're going to find our destination. We're going to leave right now and remind you that tomorrow we'll be back here again at 8:06. And we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 big words that we adhere to: in God we trust. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.